Hey everybody, hope everybody's having a great time today. I am here today to open up some PSA stuff. It's a value submission of about 343 cards, or 46. I can't really remember. I guess 46 there. So I'm going to try to do this as quickly as possible. I'm trying a new setup here with the StreamYard thing, so you'll be able to see the cards. I'm also now connected to the chat, so that should make it a little bit more interactive as well. So hey, shout out here. I'm just getting used to a lot of these controls, so shout out here to so many people that are already saying hello. How many total cards in my collection? I would guess about 10,000 graded cards, and probably a lot more other ones as well that aren't graded. I'm getting a little bit of feedback here, so hang on, guys. All right. Hopefully that's better. So 243 or 236. I'm not sure. Something that I also wanted to, as we kind of go through this, let people know, is that I had an issue where this order was paid for last Friday at PSA, and they gave me an advanced shipping notice, and then that advanced shipping notice, I never got anything from UPS when I tried to track it. And then bizarrely, the postman knocks on my door yesterday, Saturday, and delivered the package. So I started to get concerned. I don't know if anybody else has had this issue between PSA and the post office, but certainly I was a little bit frightened. I've been waiting for these cards for 18 months. And all but one of the cards in the submission are mine. Another one's for an Italian friend, and actually it's probably the best card in the sub, frankly. I got just one or two upcharges, so not a lot of upcharges. And in fairness, most of these cards are low value, very low condition. All of this is value vintage. So if you guys aren't into vintage, you'll probably learn a lot just by seeing some of these cards. And you'll also get a sense for cards that I think are important to the hobby. Hey, Andre, thanks for the kudos on the stream. You also did an awesome one with Champ. I can't wait to see the ones you did with Nils. That was funny when Ilda was mentioning that she goes to bed listening to you guys talk. That is pretty frequent. I don't know where I'm going to put all these boxes. Probably could have done some of this earlier, but I just wanted to give people a chance to kind of get on and see what is in here. So I'll try to be quick, so I won't spend too much time on individual cards or players. Try not to give a lot of history of the players, just because otherwise we could be here for a long time. Oh, I'm buried behind cards. Love it, right? Isn't that how we all want to go? Maybe I should put that in my will. I'll be buried with slabs and plastic. So actually, I should probably think of a mechanism here to make this actually happen. I think I answered this. So first question so far, how many estimate? About 10,000, I would guess. Could be slightly more, could be slightly less. Also have a lot of stuff at Vaults. So that is another thing. Okay, let's see here. I'm having a problem scrolling through the comments. Let me see. Thanks again, Andre, for that. And I can't see if I can get this. Okay, here we go. All right, so we got people from Brazil, Portugal, the US. And I think the best way to just do this is to get started, right? Let's see. I have no idea what order this stuff is going to be in. And I'm just trying to figure out where I'm going to put it all as I kind of walk through. Again, I probably should have done this earlier, but let's just crack one of these open. These are always fun just to crack open and see what's inside. Ireland, thank you. Sweden, yeah. So we got insuring the cards. Well, sports card, Harry. There's collect insure here in the US. I don't know how that works in other places, but so that's who I use to insure the collection. And you only have to schedule things that are more than X dollars. I can't remember what it is, $20,000 or $25,000. And then everything else kind of falls under this umbrella. So if you lost it in the mail and you knew how much it cost, you'd get recovery. All right. So I hope you guys will see. This will be mostly, I can answer some questions like that as we go, but this is mostly about the cards. So let's kind of get to it. So the first one, and this is kind of a new setup to try to use StreamYard. It can't zoom in as much as I'd like, but this is Godfrey and Phillips. They're mostly known as the Pinnis cards. And this right here is Nils Middelboe, who was a fantastic player. There's a couple different versions of this card. This came back to PSA 4, which is pretty good for this issue. Most of them are 1s to 3s. So here's Pinnis, and in that particular one, he's in Chelsea. There's another card of him in casuals. Well, this is great. Hey, we Soccer Study had Nils on today, and we got a Nils Middelboe to start off. The next one is an Alan Morton. I think this is his rookie card as well, although the Pinnis went over a number of years. Yeah, so hey, Harry Card Collector, if you see some Middelboe, I think he's a completely underrated, Danish player. So I definitely pick him up, and he was, playing in the Premier League in the 1920s. So here's a Morton. This is a 1.5, which I feel like is a little harsh. If you look at this back, it looks really nice. Oops, sorry, live TV, so to speak. So I'm hitting the camera and moving things off. I'm gonna take this one off. Yeah, so there's both. Yeah, 25K. This is Matt Hendler. Also was letting you know on the collect insure, it's 25K that you have to schedule for, so it makes it relatively easy. And the other version on the Middelboe, which is a Casper H, is the casuals instead of Chelsea. Okay, I'll try to speed it up. There's a number of these, and these are, I really like this. This is the Beckenbauer 1965 TTT, and these are all with pretty thrashed backs, but these are just important stickers. And for 10, 12 bucks, I decided to send my lot to them. So here's another one. Again, I'm not gonna show you every card since there's so many. So they have varying degrees of bad backs, if you want to call it that. Another one that you'll see here, another TTT, is this famous one with him kicking the ball. Also a rookie, 65 Beckenbauer. Again, varying degrees of back, but all of these were extracted from an album, so I expected 1s on all of them. And so this is no exception. Here's another one. Another one. And wow, another one. I forgot how many I had of these. So you can see some of the backs aren't terrible. Certainly good. Beckenbauer rookies. back in the day, you could pick these up, pretty inexpensively. And so I did. Wow, I guess I had more of these than I thought. So let me just count these since you guys don't need to see the same card over and over. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of these Beckenbauer 65 TTT in action rookies. Love the shot. And a couple of the green ones. So it goes over into the Beckenbauer thing. And then, not to be outdone, his compatriot, you've got Mueller, Gerd Mueller. So yeah, all of these look great on the front, and I tend to focus on that. Of course, you don't love to see a back, but for a collector, and you really want to get the image, or you want to get a bunch of different rookies on a budget. I mean, these are not bad options. I mean, these are just not expensive cards. Here's another one. So it looks like I had the same thing in Mueller. I'll spare you guys the pain and suffering. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Muellers. Again, Mueller rookies, inexpensive. Here's actually an unstuck one. Unfortunately, it wasn't any of those. And this is the German team that has Mueller and Beckenbauer. That came back a 3. And another 3 as well for the German team. So looked like a lot of TTTs in that box. So we had a comment here of saying that I think there needs to be a qualified for glued back the liqueurs. Yeah, I'm okay with it being a PSA 1 to 2. I just want anything to be consistent in its application. And I think that there's a general feel that over the past 6 months or so, some have flipped through that have potentially some back damage, or that were removed, albeit well removed, and they've slipped through and got higher grades from all the grading companies. But that is a little bit tough. I mean, you always got to buy the card. So analyze the card. You can see this last weekend. I'll be talking with Bill at the State of the Market next week, but you can see, like last night in the golden auction, that there was a number of cards that were potentially undergraded and other ones that were overgraded, and you can kind of see how that did or didn't affect the results. I think we're seeing a lot of these over time. These are the 55 Vecchies with what I'd call the most gettable Garincha rookie out there. So there's these, and these also have varying backs. Like that's a pretty glued back. You can still see all of the verbiage, and there's no paper loss, but it's incredibly stained on the glue. Another Zizinho, great fronts though on these. Now this one has some removal issues. So there is that going on. Here's a really underrated defender, the Nilton Santos, between him and Nilton Santos. Really good back. I mean, this is really good for a 1. Take that any day of the week. And here is another one. So a few Vecchies in there. These were decent. Then I got so these 1966 cards. There's so many different versions. It's hard to track them down. This is the German ones. So if you see this is a Yashin. So you can see this. I'm not even going to try this for my German friends, unless somebody wants to phonetically, put that in the chat. That would be great. Well, just mentioned Schaff. Well, I tried it anyway. This is the Sicker Verlag. There's all sorts of different ones from all over the world. This is a beautiful blue, and that was a 2, by the way, which seemed incredibly harsh. None of these were removed from what I recall. Here is the Eusebio. I love that greenback. This is, again, the German version. You have Portuguese, you have Spanish. They all have little nuances that we could get into details about. But, if you've got questions, you just go to Cartophilic or post it on the Vintage Soccer Discord. Here's somebody that nobody, talks about. Birdie Vox a lot. This is a 1. Again, these were never stuck. So I'm a little perplexed why I'm getting these very low grades on what seems to be I mean, actually, I expected to get 4s to 7s on these. And all of these Sicker Verlags got crushed. Here's an Elias Figueroa, which I consider to be his rookie. He's got a lot of 1966 rookies, one of the best South American defenders that you never heard of or never collected. So definitely check into him if you're interested. So pretty disappointed on the Sicker Verlags. Did not expect that. So here's kind of Fedora. Does this come from the Canary Islands? Maybe. So now you see the same pictures, but you got a different back. And I love this actually doesn't have a blank back. And this gets a 1.5. And this is actually made by FHER, which makes a lot of stickers. But so there's that one. Oh, I had 2 Fedoras, shockingly. So that's interesting. And this is Jairzinho. This is not Jair to be confused with the 1950s Brazilian star. Here's a Yashin also in a 2. And pretty harsh on these. I mean, maybe this is fine. But I honestly expected most of these to be more like this one. A 3, never stuck. So these are hard to find, never stuck, guys. And I particularly like the Fedora one. Here's the Nilton Santos. It does annoy me that, and I know why PSA and SGC and Beckett and everybody just puts Santos on it, because on the back it just says Santos. But to me, it just bothers me. It's like, clearly that's the Nilton Santos, right? I mean, I feel like we need to have enough. Like, I don't feel like this would never happen on a Babe Ruth card. Just put Santos, okay? They'd look at the picture and they say, okay, that's Babe Ruth. So they'd put Babe Ruth. They wouldn't put Ruth, right? So it does annoy me, some of this. I get that they don't fully know, like this Albert. Okay, a Google search away, in 1966 World Cup Albert, and you'd know that's Florian Albert. And so it annoys me. And by the way, so Matt Hendler, who actually works at PSA, is just said we're working to fix that. It's going to be hard, Matt. I'm not going to lie to you. You have to have a lot of knowledgeable people in the grading rooms and in the cataloging and research rooms. But I think it would go a long way to fix that. And you're not, PSA is not alone with this, by the way. Pretty much every grading company, when they don't have people who know what it is, they stick with what they know, which is usually right on the card, like here, Jair, instead of Jairzinho. This is Cibeles, which, by the way, I love the little Cibeles. You can tell that because of this little insignia in the top right. So, just beautiful. And a lot of these 1966, you can get complete albums really cheaply and extract the cards yourselves. I just think it's amazing. 50 years, great World Cup. England wins, but you have so many great Brazilian players, so many great, Eusebio. I mean, just stars. Lev Yashin. You had, Elias Figueroa. So this is Cibeles again in a 2. Pretty good back. Still looks like we're fighting with the Newton rings issues at PSA. And then here's another Cibeles. Sorry about all the reflection, guys. I'm just doing my best here. I was going to lay them out there, but I just want to get this thing moving faster for you guys. This is the 1968 Cibeles. Also has this little insignia there, and it has this box for the name. But look at how cool this back is. This is one of my favorite backs in the hobby. It's got this VW bug on it. Just so awesome. And it's like, what's it? Chocolates Las Cibeles, contamos contigo. We're counting on you. Love this card. This is a fun one. It's a PSA 1. A player that not a lot of people collect. But, oh, man, I love these 1966 cards. There's so many different ways you can go with those 66 cards that just make it, just magical. So it looks like we're going to lose Matt Hendler from PSA, who's on this call, but, I'm sure he'll, watch later. And he's just a great hobby research and a great dude too. So anybody who has any questions, I'm sure Matt is happy to answer them for you. And then this I don't know which one you meant was awesome. Probably the little VW, at least if you're the same way I am. I just think that's an amazing little thing. Okay, so now transitioning, and this is a new flip for me. This is this would be a Greeling. I think they're now putting it 28 to 32 Greeling, the Sport Builder, and this would be the same set as the Sindelar rookie card, and this particular one is Combi, the amazing keeper for Italy. So really excited to have him. And this card, these are tough cards. You just don't see them that often. And that was the end of that box. So we're on to the next box. And again, I'm going to try to keep the pace up here, guys, because this could take a long time if I got bogged down on every card. So let's see what's in the next box. All right. So the first one, this is a card that I tell people typically not to super stretch on, because it's they're more readily available than some of the other cards. These 60s Panini issues, and here's Eusebio. So you can find these, as you can see, in a 6. Nice card. Happy to have it, but don't overpay. 6 sounds like a high grade. It is, on a relative basis, but it's not huge, and I wouldn't overpay. When we started off the video, I talked about the Nils Middlebow in the casuals. You can see this is the casuals. So this is the partner to that earlier one, and that came back in a 5, which is probably the highest rated. The other one was a 4, so now I'm putting that up with that. So we got the Eusebio here, and then we've got this TTT of Suarez. Nice. Love that. And that was a 3 unstuck. Here's some more of these Panini, mid-year Panini. Here's a Beckenbauer and a 6. Good afternoon. Then we got Rick. Good afternoon, Rick. So we've got this one in a Valida back and a 2. I would almost always, given the same price, prefer the Valida backs than the blank backs. In this particular case, it's not a blank back variation. You either have this standard back or the Valida backs in the 1966 ones. Here's another 66 Valida back in a 3. And Uwe Sealer also in a 3. Again, another guy who not a lot of people collect. Which I don't understand why. Epic German player. So now I'm already space constrained, and we're just starting here. So here's this is a really nice Beckenbauer second year sticker. I love it that it's tall, but it fits in a standard slab. So that's really nice. There's a 4. I got a duplicate here in a 5. So 4s and 5s on these Beckenbauers, like those. This card is one that I really like. I don't know, the framing of this is kind of special, and this is a Gerd Mueller. You can see this. That's in a 3. It's icon. So you don't see this nearly as much as the Sicker Verlags. Koenig football, but icon. So got one of those in a 3, pretty epic. And then this one in a 6, even more so. So loving those. Oh, wow. So also had another one and a 5. And another one and a 4. Can you tell I like this card? I love this setup. So that's a 4. So we've got here a 3. Oh, and another 3. So we've got 3. So we've got 2 3s, a 4, a 5, and a 6. Nice. Really cool card. One of my favorite cards from the late 60s. Now we're transitioning back into the early 20s. I mean, mid 20s, I guess. Here's the Greenlee 1926s. This is Kata. This is amazing. This is really tough card to get in my experience, as are the Cespan, which actually, not unsurprisingly, is the next card. And they come in small versions and large versions. This is the large version. Getting a 3 in these, I think, is about as high as I typically see. And here's another one that features Kata. That's in a 1. Usually there's some glue on the back somewhere. This one doesn't. I don't seem to have it, so I don't know. Yeah, so, and you can find a lot of, and here's another one. Oh, this is Yager. Oh, which is awesome. One of the best, what do you call it? The amateurs to ever play. Scored like 1,000 games, so that's pretty cool. And then here's another Nils Middlebow from the Pinna set, also in a 5 in Chelsea. So that's good. Not sure where I stored those. Yeah, you can get a lot of, and this is a comment, and I think people who are interested could be on the lookout. You can get a lot of the 1960s issues signed by Beckenbauer and Mueller. They were pretty prolific signers in Germany, and they make really great collectibles. I have a number of them as well, from the Bergman cards to the icons to other ones, and they are just really fun to collect. And I even have a couple with more vintage signatures, and that's also nice to see how signatures progressed over time. So this next card, I wish this was mine. It was not. It's submitted for a friend, and this is probably the biggest card in a submission. The 1962 Pele EDI. This comes in different versions. Let me clear this comment off the screen. This comes in different versions, a blank back version, an EDI that is over here on the side, and then this one that has the full write-up. I prefer this one to any of the others. This card did get an upcharge, and it should have. This is probably one of the more valuable cards from the 1960s. Love this. I have one. Unfortunately, this one's not mine, so this goes out to my friend in Italy. Yeah, it is absolutely a beautiful card. Actually, I'll just leave this here and I'll check a couple of the comments as well. So yeah, I also like getting a single card in various grades from the same grader. It is a little weird. It almost feels like a run. So every now and then with these icons now, I will probably keep a 3, 4, 5, and 6 just because I don't know. It's weird. I like to have those little runs of the same card by the same grader as well. So this one, unfortunately, headed to Italy here, but beautiful, beautiful card. Love the colors on this card. It's just and thank you, Ashokatu and Will for mentioning that. That's really nice. I agree. It's really nice. This is a Jeff Hurst rookie in a 4. A few of these at auction going for relatively cheap. I think it's a great card to pick up. Love those A and BC cards. Wow. I don't know what I missed on this, but I certainly had much better expectations than this. And I'll have to show you guys. You guys can let me know. So this is a Gerd Mueller rookie card. And you'd normally think this has got a thrash back, right? Oh, yeah. Okay, so is there anything on there? I don't see any glue. There's no creases on the front. Wow. That is crazy. Such a good looking one. I mean, I actually thought this was going to get potentially a 4. Now, maybe this is the reason why it's a 1 is because you see this line on this card. So a lot of you guys will understand this. This came from a dual card sheet. And so some of these you had to actually cut, and maybe it's that slight miscut because there's both hand cut versions of this card and never, and machine cut. And right there, this tiny little line, I don't know. It's beyond me, but a 1 on that. Oh, my Lord. Here's another one. And this is another 1. I'll have to take the 10 loop out and see if I missed something. Oh, this one may have a little bit of glue down here. Anyway, best looking ones you could have. And honestly, I like to collect cards like that have just amazing eye appeal. This one definitely, I did expect. I thought at least one of those was going to get like a 3 or 4. Here's a 1. And this one makes complete sense to me. It has some paper residue at the top. So that one makes sense. But the other 2 did not make sense at all to me. And then in a similar way, these Beckenbauers, I think these were all going to be like 1s to 2s. What a beautiful front on those. And then this has got a little extra paper here at the top and some paper loss here in the corners, but you can still read the whole back, which to me is important. So those are nice. Here's another Beckenbauer rookie. Again, expected a 1 on these. So just expected these 1s. But on the Muellers, I actually had different expectations. It's always bad when you miss the expectations of what you thought you were going to get. So here is the team card, which was never stuck. And I believe it got, a 3. So it got a higher than a 2, which is fine. These typically grade really high, and I had a number of them and only sent in a couple. So I'm kind of surprised. I know that a 7 seems high, but for the 66 Bergmans, it is not overly a high grade. Still, this is such a great classic card, inexpensive card of absolute legends. Helmut Schön, Uwe Seeler, and then Beckenbauer as a kid. Wow, such a cool card. I got 2 7s and a 6 on this, so I don't need to show you all 3 copies. I actually kind of expected 8 and maybe a chance at a 9. Here's one that I really love, Beckenbauer. This comes from the 67 Figurita Sport set, which is a cartoon set, but I absolutely love it, right? And it's so cool. This is a great card of the set, but perhaps one of the most legendary cards in the set is the Lev Yashin as a spider. His nickname was the Black Spider. And so I got a 2 on this one. Almost all of these are in 3s or less. And then I got a 2 on this copy as well. It's a 2, yeah. So 2 Black Spider Figurita Sports. Killer card from my perspective. So and this is just a great set, and it doesn't only have soccer players, but it also has like a Fangio from F1. Here's Antonio Sastre, great early player, and you have Luis Suarez. Just the art on these. I wish I could find the original art. I just love this. So nice. Yeah. Yeah, so that Yashin is probably one of his most desired cards. This is Casper H mentioning, that Yashin is definitely one of the most desired cards. You also have a J.M. Moreno, where he's heading the ball here in a River Plate jersey. This is post-career, but he was an absolute legend, so he's included in the set. And, I think sometimes great ways to understand who was important for various players and countries and leagues is to see the homage sets that they pull out, that they create later, because those are the superstars who they considered to be the superstars and they were closer to the actual times. I find those helpful in vintage collecting, but I love pretty much all of the cards in those 1967 Figurita Sport out of Argentina. So on to the next box. So thank you for spending some of your Sunday. I was actually planning to do this next week, but I have a really busy week at work and, just got a lot of stuff going on. So I figured I'd just do this today and hopefully people can look at this, later. So here we've got, so now there's a few Bremers. So many of you know that the Bremers are famous for having a number of Pele rookies. So this is Lev Yashin right here. This is, right now we consider this to be a Yashin rookie. So this gets a 1. There's a little bit of residue here from extraction, but what a beautiful one, right? It's beautiful. This one was near perfect, never stuck, and comes back, this Yashin, at a 7. So this is probably one of the more epic cards in the submission, getting a 7. Pretty huge on that. Bremer, again, really, really cool. Most people know the Palarex set for the Cruyff, but there's also a number of other stars. Here's the Magic Dragon, a 3.5. So this was never stuck. This one was stuck and extracted and properly got a 2. There's some stuff you can see along the sides there. So you also had a bunch of the Manchester United guys. So here's a Bobby Charlton in a 4. I won't even bother showing you the backs. Another 4. And then we got George Best, which is just a couple years after he started. So still pretty early card. There's a 3 and there's another 3. So decent grades on some Palarexes. You can't talk Palarex 68 without talking about Eusebio as well. And so there's a 3, a 3, and a 3. So 3 3s. So we got a 9. We got 1 9 out of these 3 3s here in the thing. So here we go. There are those. Let me see what else we have. Yep, I like those action shots as well on the coffee cards. I think I have some more Bremers coming up here soon as well, if I can remember. Really hard for me to remember what's in the submission. So here's the 1968 Tudo Sport, perhaps most well known for its inclusion of the Lou Alcindor Kareem Abdul-Jabbar rookie card a full year before his Topps version. But there we had Puskas. And then we have a Gilmar. Again, underrated. I think Gilmar is very underrated. Won 2 World Cups as a keeper for Brazil. There's another card from the set. Boxing, I don't know. Most of you guys know, I think I collect some boxing. Don't show it all that often, but here's a Sugar Ray Robinson with the Regalo back, the rarer back of the 2. In this series, this is the more common back, and the Regalo back is the more difficult one. Actually, I did get an upcharge for this card. This is a Pele and a 6, the Sicker Verlags. So this I did forget about this one. Yeah, it's a nice 60s Pele card. I love the colors on the side. Actually, my favorite card from the set's actually the Eusebio. And there's one 1963 and one 1964 that look the same but have different numbers and either a Frankfurt or a W, I think it is, indication, which will show the difference between the years. Here's a Beckenbauer from 68. Let's see, this also has the Regalo back. So, like to see those rarer backs. Soft. Almost nobody's talking about Soft, but legendary, keeper for Italy. This is a 3. Just some beautiful cards. Another Regalo back here. And then in the standard back, a 4. As you can see, the standard back. And here's a Rivera in the standard back. Not expensive cards, but very fun. Very, very fun. So there are those. Just cranking through, boys and girls. Thanks for staying with me and spending part of your Sunday, whether that's evening or it's your afternoon or whenever. But I think this is super fun when you get stacks of these cards back. It's just a lot of fun. So here's just you're gonna have to excuse me here. This is back to the naming thing. Okay, look at this. Okay, so this is called Artist Hoffman. Okay, this is not Artist Hoffman. This is Richard Hoffman, and they're saying that he's an artist by the way he's playing the game. So, whatever. That's a 3 and a 5. We'll come back to that later. Bulgarian Sport and a 3.5. Rudy Hidden. He's a great Austrian, and he also played for France. Keeper. And now we have some really kind of cool stuff. Well, this is interesting. So it looks like they're changing the dates on this, which used to be a 58. This is from the supplemental Quiggle, where they are caricatures, and this is the Garincha, and it got a 2.5, which to me that was way better than the 2.5. Never stuck Quiggle. I thought I was going to get like a 5, even or a 5 miscut. Here's a Nilton Santos. Also, at least I thought I was going to get that, and I did get it on the Santos. Would have rather had that on the Garincha for sure, but still epic, pretty rare stickers. Rare to get these in anything more than a 2. So this is a 3. It's miscut, but never stuck. So that's a nice one. And these are really small team issues, but obviously from the Titolare set, and a 2. Still really nice, strong back on this one. And here's one in a 3, which must be never stuck. And there's 2 different sets of this. One is number 88, and the other one is 100. So some nice Titulares cards, including a Garincha, also in a 2. Then we got this Beckenbauer 1970. This comes in a regular version and a kicker version from the magazine. That's a 2, and it's completely beyond me how this is a 2. I thought this was going to be a 7. So no idea why. I'll need to look at this under the scope a little later. We've got a Sandor Kosic and a 6 AMBC. It's a good grade for the card. So, certainly happy with that. We used to think these were pretty common, but they've been doing quite well in the market as late. I know I sent in a bunch of these. So you've got Jimmy Greaves and an 8. And these are, I think everybody knows by now, you can tell the rookies, the true rookies from 58, because they have the inverted back. So those are the ones that you want. over here. Since I sent in a lot of these, I got 2 8s and let's see, 9, 9, 9. So I sent in 5, 3 9s. The cadet suites typically come in good grades because of the way that they were distributed in little packets of full sets that were pretty protected. So I got 3 9s and 2 8s. And I don't know why he doesn't get more love. I mean, he had more than 400 goals for club and country, and still holds a lot of records like hat tricks. And he passed away last year, and he gets virtually no love in the hobby. So personally, I think he's amazing, completely undervalued. And while the cadet suites are never going to be the absolute best collectible because of their relative availability, I still like them, and I think that they're great pickups at reasonable prices. Here are some uncommon Mueller cards to be graded. This is a 4.5 to the Beckenbauer 2. And here is a 5 on the Bergman. Yeah. So I also would agree with you, Sports Cards Harry, that a lot of these grades seem very harsh. Now, in fairness, I expected most of these to be relatively low grades, and I'm kind of pointing out where there's a miss here for me. But if there is back damage, you should be getting 1s or 2s. You shouldn't be getting there, and you can't always readily see from the ones that I show up here which ones have back damage or not. I'm having a quick visual, so in some of these it actually may be the case, and likely is that under magnification I would agree with them. But when I put the submission together, I was just looking at eye appeal and picked the ones that had great eye appeal, knowing that, for instance, some of those TTT cards, obviously with the obvious glue, we're all going to get 1s. And then you have other expectations, like I figured the cadet suites should be getting 8s and 9s, and they did. And then there's a little bit of everything in between. Speaking of the TTT, here's a TTT team card, which you don't see that often. And this was never stuck, so got that in a 6. So that's a pretty big grade for that card. And there you go. You got Beckenbauer and Mueller on that. Kind of drowning here in plastic already. So trying to wonder where I'm going to put some stuff. You've got some really nice, of these 1966 cards. Again, this is the German version. That's the Yashin. Okay, this is probably another one of the really big cards in the submission. It is the famed Bobby Charlton Collinville gum. And it's the same picture from the AMBC, but it's a really, really small card. And that card goes into a little album. So almost all of them are stuck. And this is a 4, which may be the highest rated. So this is kind of one of the epic cards of the submission. Shoot, I should have been separating some of those. But that is amazing. And while I kind of go through a little bit of this stuff, I'll put up this, which is also amazing. I have to move some of these cards around. So here's the Garincha, the 1960. I love this. There's a Pele also, same version. So this is just really cool looking card. Super happy to have that one. So that's kind of a highlight. And then, I think most people know that I'm a huge Cruyff fan. And, even I would even pick up removed Cruyff rookies from the albums. So here there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 Cruyffs, and they all get PSA 1s, which there's been a shocking amount of extracted stickers from these albums that you can clearly see, like this one. It was extracted, some paper loss, that have been getting much higher grades than a 1. All of my 6 copies got a 1, as I believed that they should. So you can, yeah. And maybe these were slightly more obvious than some of the other ones, but I believe that all of these should get a 1. They all got a 1. So good job to PSA not letting any of these slip out. But there have been a number of these that have slipped through to my eyes over the last few months. Now, I will also say that these are all graded 1969 on the flip. I think they're now grading this as 1968 to 70, which is kind of a bizarre flip, but also the correct one to my eyes, because the same card was issued in 2 sets from 1968 and 69, and then also from the other album in 69, 70. And there's no way to tell the difference between them. Same thickness, same number, same photograph, same size. So you can't tell the difference between the 68, 69s or the 69, 70s. So 68, 70 is the right way to think about it. Still first card in Holland. If you want more information about Cruyff and his rookie cards, please see my video on him. So there's 6 of those. I also had 3 of these, which is the Sicker Verlag. So you can see this. And these are, I focus always on eye appeal, right? So not a completely thrash back. Yeah. Does this bother you here in the bottom, this little extra paper? Yeah, it bothers me, but I can still read everything on the back of the card, right? So to me, I think those are really nice ones. There's another really nice one, right? Now this back has some paper loss up here and here, but generally it's intact. Here's another thing that, since we're here, we're all together, spending some time together. I'll show you the difference of the backs. There's 2 versions of this. One is this full line where it says Bundesliga AC 1968, and the other one is the split version up at top. I think the full line is the more rare version to my eyes, but here's a perfect example of learning a little bit about variations that the rating companies do not recognize on their flips. Look at exact same flip. Bundesliga AC, Bundesliga AC. They don't recognize that difference. And here's the third one. Again, PSA 1. Pretty good. I mean, as far as ones go, I like them. So those are all additional Cruyff rookies. And then, of course, the ones that I had unstuck was a Love Yashin. Comes back a 6. Great. Love to see that. And the Bobby Charlton comes back a 5. Fine. We've got some of these Pele stickers that have done well through time. This is the 1966, and this is a 4. Pretty cool. Pele never stuck. And the same card in a 5. Readily, I can't really see the difference in these, but here's a 3 and a 2. So we've got a 2, 3. Maybe I'll have to keep all these. 4 and a 5, just to see if you ever want to see the difference in grading between a 2 and a 5. Here we go. We can do a case study. All right. So we've got those Pele's done. We've got this set of boxes done. Anybody getting tired out there? Yeah, no red wine. Shit, Jimmy. Maybe that's a good idea. I mean, I do have to be at the airport tomorrow morning at 7. So maybe that's not a great idea at 6 p.m. on a Sunday, but let me think about it. I don't know. If you're willing to, cork a bottle, I'm willing to go along with the ride with you. And I think, aren't you in Vancouver, Jimmy? So it's maybe still a little early for you. So let's see what else we got here, boys and girls. Oh, we've got 6 more boxes, I think. If you guys can hang with me, hopefully you'll see something that could be of interest. Okay, so these are Montecudines, which are still being graded as 1946. I think most of us have established we think they're more like 1947 to 50 over various years. Here's Angel Bruna. I think the top grade in these is like a 3. This is a really nice eye appeal. Pedinera. Yeah, so you're in Vancouver. So it's a little early for you for red wine, but if you If you crack a bottle, I can do the same. So here's an Adolfo Pedernera, absolute killer player. And this is a really nice looking card, even for a 2. I think that kind of blows the charts. This one is J.M. Moreno. Like to see that they are putting Jose Manuel Moreno on it instead of just the JM, which they would have done. That's nice. To see this in a 3 is pretty cool. This has got the really cool Montecudine like green back. So that's cool. Epic player también. I mean, shoot, sorry for the Spanish. Just, thinking a little on there. And then you got the Arsenio Rico towards the end of his career. He started in 34. This got a 3 miscut. A lot of these are miscut where the circle just kind of got off and got it. Then we've got a beautiful Lostau, Felix Lostau, and that's in a PSA 3, which is amazing. Really hard to get these in PSA 3s. And here's some of the different backs. So you've seen a little bit of these different backs. Some I thought they were changing the flip on these from 1946 to the later dates, but I guess it hadn't happened. And sometimes they make changes in their systems, but if it's already through a certain stage, they don't change the ones that you had. Here's an iconic Puskas card. I'm sure most people have this. If you're an entry level, collector, I think these are just staple cards need to go in your collection, kind of like 1952 tops. They have that feel. They are, they're just nice cardboard, full frame issues. Thank God they're not putting these in the larger slabs. I had heard some people that had gotten these and the Bergmans back in larger slabs. Here's the Di Stefano in a 2. Not the best grades, but really nice eye appeal. Happy to have those. A Horst Semenek in a 4. I don't think a lot of people grade this card. Epic player, though. Again, so many forgotten Germans. And it seems to be the case. There's not a ton of hobby love for German players outside of potentially Beckenbauer. You just look at the money that most of the top pre-modern German players bring in, and some of the other countries who are less, the players from other countries who are less accomplished. And here's a Stanley Matthews towards the end of his career, but look at him, he still looks quite agile for an old man. What was that? It's a 3. Fine, I'll take 3s in all of these Heinerleys. They're now, I think SGC's grading them as 1960. I think these are 59 still at PSA, at least when my order was printed. Here's one from a set that I don't love, but I love this imagery. And since it's 58 and it's Monty Gum, here's a Yashin. And so this would be considered now his rookie card, which I always think there's got to be an earlier Yashin card because he started playing early 50s. But 58 is where we really start to see them because of the World Cup. Oh, by the way, this comes in various back variations. This is the green. This is also the green, a little thrashed in a PSA 1. Still very nice. It's kind of a fun set, except for the Pele, which feels a bit racist. The drawing, here's a Laszlo Kubala. So they also come in trading card variations. And this gives you an idea. And here's the red back. A lot of times they would put who they consider to be the best players as the aces, right? Makes sense. And so Kubala received an ace designation, which would mean he's one of the top players. Then you've got, these 1961 Heinerle. Here's another Puskas. Yes, I also hate the Pele Montegum. Here's a little, I hate the Pele Montegum. Feels racist to me. This is a 2. Now, this is probably one of the higher grades out there. This is a 5. And the 61 Heinerle. I thought I had some shot in here as well. But you get another a Grossis, one of the most underrated Hungarian keepers out there. I doubt many people have graded this card. That's a 4. We've got some, here's the 61 Pele, the Black Pearl right down here in German, and a 4. A lot of people, this is their favorite card of the 1960s of him in the Santos jersey. Nice clean card. Very, very cool card. So, yep. Let's see. We got a Greeling here. And this is Prague. I forget who's in this. In the Prague, probably Kata. Anyway, some of these early 26 Greelings. Here's another green Beckenbauer. It's miscut. You can see this one down here, and you can see some paper. But, awesome rookie collectibles. And if you're going to present something like I do, like here in my office, presenting a card like this is just beautiful. Early Beckenbauer, 50 years old, very reasonable from a price perspective. It's these are cool collectibles, and even with bad backs, and even though I have better ones, nothing prevents me from picking up more because I just love the colors on those stickers. I'm gonna have a hell of a mess to pick up in here after I'm done. Now to one of my this is absolutely one of my favorite sets. This is Monty Gum. I have it as 1970, 71. Looks like they're changing the flip to 1971. And this is the other Johan. But this is awesome. He's such a great player. Actually, probably the best player on the team that went to the 78 World Cup final. And also with this guy, Kroll. And he got a 3.5. I actually hoped for better than a 3.5 and a 4 on these. I actually expected, 6s from what I recall. These were really clean copies. Here's a 4.5. And then the Vasovic and a 4. Lots of great players on this Ajax team. And then here's one that here's a 6. That's what I was kind of expecting out of these. And, one of the fathers of the total football movement, the trainer, Rinus Michels. So that's also a 6. I doubt many of those have been graded. Not exactly sure why this got a miscut, because it looks, I guess, a little low. Seems pretty harsh to get a miscut, but whatever. So here's a 58 Barrett. Greaves rookie. Again, seems like a harsh grade. I'll have to take a close look at that, but anything jump out at you guys for a 2.5? Okay, so all these I expected 1s, and was just hoping for numerical grades because these weren't in the best condition. Here's Bremer again. Here's the entire 58 team. Love that image right there. The whole team, unique image. Big spot of the back out on it, so it's a 1. Fine. Here's Pele again and another Bremer. Waiting for the ball. That's a 1 again because the back is thrashed. Here's Pele and Vava again in a 1. So I think these are all of them. This one was much better on the back. But there's still some glue remnants. So that's a 1. And then here's Pele again in a 1. These are really hard to find, never stuck. And the glue that they use in Germany is very, very tough. And then here's another one, again with Pele. Very similar to the Heinerle card. And again, back damage. Here is this the last one with Pele? I think so. It was nice not to get any upcharges on these. I think even in this condition, these now sell for, I don't know, $1,000 or so. Just such a cool set. Lots of in-action pictures and really hard to get. And I love the fact that it comes from a coffee. You know, this in the 1965 Beckenbauer Grow Gold coffee card are just amazing to me. Love those. Here's some Card Masters. This is actually, I think, 59. I think they're slabbing this is 58. I think it's 59. So that's a nice card. Oh, we're back to a couple Bremers in here. Now, these were actually good. These were never stuck. And this is Lev Yashin again with a 4.5. Same one in a 1, which I guess this had to be removed. Although I struggled to see where right now. And then we've got this other Yashin. So there were a few that had never been stuck. And that's a 4. I actually had some proof cards of them, but they must have decided not to grade those at the end. Okay. All right, down to the last few boxes. That one felt light, so that's probably the cards they chose not to grade, which in general in this shipment, there's been less cards that they chose not to grade than in some of the other ones. So a disproportionate amount of grading, which may be why this is one of the last ones. You know how they have the complete through dates? Mine was really getting up there and nearly close to the complete through. Great. So this is weird. So here's a Combi, and they call it CMB Deflex Digger's Bill. I mean, you clearly know that it's Combi from Italy if you read the back. And yeah, so there's still some improvement that needs to happen over there. This came back in a 2. That's fine. Here's a Pele. I thought these were never stuck. These Pele TTTs. I mean, they look never stuck. I'll have to go back and look, but that does not feel like a 2 to me. And then here's another one. And this also does not look like a 2. Here's another green Beckenbauer. That should be a 1. And then here is the team. Never stuck. And that got a 3. Here's a Zamora again from these Greelings, which now they talk about this one as 30-31. And this is Budapest. And we've got Zamora again in the 26. That's a 2.5. Zamora, I think, is easily considered the most, and here's a 3, easily considered the most important pre-war goalie to my eyes, and most of the publications you would read that talk about that time. So, it's always great to pick up his. He'd be one of the very first keepers I'd collect if I was just getting into pre-war. This Kata seems to me to be a short print for whatever reason. Don't seem to know why, but I've only seen a couple copies of these over time, and these are the 2 that I had and finally sent them into PSA. And then I sent in a number, which I think these are them. Let me see. It's almost like they wanted to put these in order. So I'm a big fan. I think most people know of Mathias Sindelar. And so this is one of his most affordable rookie cards. It's the Bulgarian Sport. And this is a 3.5. So I got a 3.5, a 4, another 4, another 4, a 5, a 6, and a 7. So I guess this is one of the cards that I just need to go on the run for. So there's a 7. So that's actually a pretty big card. So I got 7, 6, 5, 4. I guess I have a 3.5. So I still need a 3, 2, 1, so to speak, to get the run. So here is a stack of Sindelar Greeling cards. I mean, Bulgarian sport cards. I wish they were Greeling cards. Yeah, a lot of plastic here, but a lot of history. If you haven't read about Sindelar, please do so. Epic Austrian player with potentially even, more crazy story on his death. So let's see. Did I already go over these? Yep. I'm getting a little mixed up here, boys and girls. Last couple boxes. Any questions that you guys have as we kind of finish up this unboxing? Happy to answer anything related to the submission or anything else. It's been kind of a prolific social media week with, doing an interview with Champ and my wife. If you haven't done that, check that out on my lives. That was pretty entertaining, at least to my eyes. Also had the Champ on to unveil a really cool Stephano card. Here's a Patsy Gallagher Pinnis card. Pretty cool. Celtic legend. So here we go. Here's an example of how they should do it. I said this earlier. It should have been Zarazino on all the other cards, and they only put Zarazino when his name was actually Zarazino on the card instead of Jair. So this is a 3 in the German version. This one's kind of fun. This is the Garincha from the supplemental album, 1958. The Pele one only has half of his face, so I don't really consider that. These are pretty cool cards. Like these a lot. These are the Americana cards. And to get in a 3 never stuck is pretty huge. Look at the bright backs on these. Man, I wish there was a Pele in this submission. There is not, but I got the Gilmar. I got a Nilton Santos. See, I think this one's overgraded because there's a line right there, a crease, and I got a 3.5. But nice back on that. Here's another Nilton Santos. So this is really good. Question is about, Germans. Hang on one second. Let's see if I can get to my mouse here and put up this question. So question was, if what German do I feel is the most undervalued by the hobby? I'd probably say right now, Gerd Mueller on the vintage side, just because he was so prolific and almost, I feel like nobody cares. His rookie cards, maybe hit 1,000. And I know that Thomas Mueller recently hit 1,000 in like a PSA 10, and those stickers are super available. So I guess he's the guy that jumps out at me, but you could even make a case that Beckenbauer is still, undervalued on a relative basis to how important he was, changing the game and how good he was. So, others kind of jump out. Lamb jumps out. I think that all of the guys from the 50s, I talked about some of them here, Uwe Seeler, Sepp Meyer, these guys get like virtually no love in the hobby. And so I think that you can basically go from the late 50s, even Fritz Walter from the 40s. Not a lot of people collect them. So you can go basically from the 40s. If I was a German collector, I'd be so happy because it's so inexpensive still. And almost none of those players outside of Beckenbauer and Mueller to a small extent. And then with Soccer Study, talking about some of the other Germans, they've made a little bit of a run, but nowhere in terms of what they've achieved on the field. So that's kind of my take on those guys. Here's a Djalma Santos on the Americana. This set has the iconic 58 Pele as well. And it's just beautiful. Love those. That's a 1. And then here's a shockingly nice 4. Super nice to have these. I mean, these I love that set. Probably one of my favorite sets from the 50s. Here's the Vecchi. Very, very cool DD here. And then this is a 57 Oliveira Benassi. Here's a Nilton Santos in a 1 miscut, back damage. This is the set that the 57 Pele that I purchased last year comes from. Here's the VG3. Beautiful. Look at how nice that back is. Probably a generous 3, I'd say. Probably would have put it at a 2, 2.5, but I'll take that. And then here's a Zizinho. Really nice as well from the same set. Super cool stuff to my eyes. Then we've got some of these Eusebios. This is in a 5. Nice. We saw a Pele earlier from the set. Super nice early Eusebios. Love those. And these are all the number 285. All never stuck, which is pretty cool. And that one was a 4. Here's the Yashin. Look at how cool those colors are. In a 5. Yeah, it is amazing these colors still pop like that. This set in particular, and it's hard even to see because I got some reflection here, but just beautiful colors. Here's a Stephano. It's really nice. This is the end of his career. And so here, this is what I was telling you guys earlier, because there's a 1963 version and PSA is doing this right here. So they got this, and then you flip it over and you see this W down here. That's how you know these are the 1963s. And if you go into the 64s, you'll have Frankfurt over here. And that's how you know it's a 64. You can also know the checklist number, but that's harder to know. It's just that the telltale sign is F is 64, W is 63. All right. Cool. So, but really, really cool to these colors are just insane. Let's see, trying to get these on the screen. Bunch of Eusebios, bunch of Yashins. Oh, here's a Savori. Yeah, these colors just crazy cool. And oops, so this is where they make a mistake. Here's the W, and we got a 63. So, I don't expect grading companies to be perfect by any stretch of the imagination. And so I think so far they've been doing a pretty good job on this submission, which now we're down to the last. Thank you if you made it the whole way. What a way. You can imagine I still got hours of cleaning up and organizing all this stuff when we're done here. Maybe that's when I'll bring out the wine, Jimmy. So down to the last, I think 1.5 or maybe even less cards here. Let's see what we got. So here we talked about Jimmy Greaves earlier. Here's his Sicker Verlag from Frankfurt, 64. Some noticeable Newton rings on those. Here's a Yashin. This one had back damage, I think. Oh, maybe not. I don't know where I got a 1. I'll have to come take a look at that. There's a lot of Yashins in here. Here's a Just Fontaine from the Bremer set. And a 2. Little glue up there. Here's a Garincha from the Bremers. And again, this one had a little bit of glue. So then we've got some pre-war English stuff. And this is the Clark one, which is a much tougher one from the Standard Wills. This is 1904 Clark. Pretty valuable card in a 4, I would say, right now, given how the bloomer market's gone. We also have a Needham in the Clark. Ernst Needham. That's actually another toughie. Happy to have those. And this is completely underrated card in the hobby to my eyes. This is the Honorable Lord Kinnard. For those of you who've seen the Netflix show, the English Game. This is only card from 1907 Tatty, and this is an epic card, epic pre-war card. I think this card will show up in my top 10 of the 1910s, and to get it in a 4, pretty epic grade. I love these Copes clips. This one's a little like faded, or just doesn't have the popping blue that, for instance, this Crompton has. Maybe it's hard to see on the phone, but nice Crompton. Both of those get 4s, and the Vivian Woolward deservedly gets a 1. Pretty thrashed card, but it's got what, 115 years on it, 110 years, something like that. So you can't argue with those. Here's a Sam Hardy that I like, and that's a 3. So I'll take that. Here is, this is tough set. This is the Cope Solace. Here's an Ernst Needham and a 3. Usually these grade 2s and below, so a 3 is pretty hard grade. This one's a bit of a floater, though. So can move them around a little bit, but I like when they're at least straight up. Jimmy Quinn from the Solace. I got an MK on that. Oh, why? Because somebody has some vintage writing on the top. When I encounter cards like this, I leave the writing on them. I don't try to erase. I think that's a question I get sometimes. I just leave it. Vintage handwriting, don't love it, but I also, not going to try to deface the card trying to get it any better. Spencer. We got Dixie Dean Rover, which is probably one of the easier cards to get. His rookie's really hard, so getting these in 3s to 5s certainly makes sense. That's a 3. This is a 4. And here's some Monty Gum, a couple Monty Gum team cards. I love this little sign back here, Ajax. And obviously Cruyff is here. It's a puzzle card, so that's why you have the back like that. And here's 4 and a 4.5. So these twins made it. Last box for everybody. My Lord, I'm tired. Hope you guys have enjoyed this. Hope you learned a little bit about some differences in some of the sets and the players. And if you guys got any last minute questions, if you could, be typing those out. I certainly appreciate the interest. Jose Roberto Dinez, thank you. Thanks for watching. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed this stuff. And I'm back down to my last. This should have been my first box because it felt light and it had all the paperwork on this. Which I would imagine there would have been, and it's funny to see 18 months ago what I thought some of the value was on some of these cards. So how that's changed. I think most of it has gone up. Let's just put it that way. So I don't know if they haven't graded all of these cards or not. Let's see. Oh, okay. So there is a stack of cards that weren't graded in here. So we can go over those as well. Oh, actually, surprising amount. Okay. Okay, so we talked about Pinnis earlier. So here's a nice Pinnis Meredith. I love this. There's like 6 different back variations, right? And this is the photos. It says in the address here, it's called photos. I have a bunch of them, even some in PSA holders. So I think I maybe made a post. Oh, I think it was on the Vintage Soccer Facebook page of all my variations there. Here's another Nils Middlebow. I think a super important card from the set. As you can see, I've picked up probably shown 4 or 5 of those. Here you've got another Johan, the alternative, or what did they call him? The Fabulous, or I forget what his nickname is. Maybe I have a YouTube video on him. Oh, here's another nice surprise. Sindelar 5. So it goes in my stack of Sindelars. This is another. I always liked the look of this sticker, so I picked up obviously a few of those. And this is a 3. Pele. I don't even know where the rest of the stuff is here. There's a German national team from the 28 version, which will have Hoffman in it. Here's a really nice Jager. Adolf Jager, again, 1,000 goals as a amateur. This came back in a 3.5. Love this one. Really cool card. So happy to have that one slab now. And then here is, to close it out, a Zamora Greeling. I think we saw another copy of this version of this card somewhere else in the submission. So let's see what they did not grade. Okay, so as I had said before, these are Bremer proofs, and so these are blank backs, so they didn't grade those. Not unsurprisingly. So I've got a couple of Greelings, and I'm not exactly sure why. It says miscut. Well, you could just put a miscut qualifier on them. So not sure how they did there. This Cruyff as well. Miscut. I'll have to measure this, but seems like all the others. This interesting. This Eusebio. I wonder why. Maybe they don't have this in their system, because this is a pretty cool set, Mira, and I think I've seen other cards from the set. So, and it looks like they did have this, and then somebody came with a marker and said, don't do it or something. I don't know. Here is a Beckenbauer TTT, which is miscut. Okay, that's fine. Just put the miscut on there. I don't know why. This, they probably didn't understand what this was. This was a Schutt Puskas. You can tell because of the 2 weightlifters on the back. The other Heinerleys have 4 on them. So pretty disappointed they didn't grade that. Probably just send this stuff back in. It all seems absolutely gradable. This had a bad back, but right size, and it had some destruction on the back. Okay, so fine. It's a 1. Don't get that. Let's see what else we got. Wow, a number more than I had expected. A Beckenbauer kicker version. Maybe they hadn't seen the kicker version, which came out of the magazine instead of the regular Sicker Verlag Bergmans. But so I don't get that. I had another proof. The Ashen, so I had the 3 Ashen cards in proofs. I guess that is Johan the Second. Thank you, Mr. Steve Lum. Johan the Second. That's exactly what it was. I don't know. I was dropping forgetting that. I'm getting more forgetful as time goes on. Thank you, Steve. And then so it's so funny. So here we go. Steve also says this. We need to trade, so I can't lose I'm getting back either. Yeah, I mean, it's crazy. So like when I did this 18 months ago, I'll just give you a couple examples. You know, I said the you know, Pele Bremer is worth $199. And you know, those I think now are selling, even in this condition, are probably, you know, selling for 4 or 5 times of that. The Collinville Gov, Bobby Charlton, also $100, $200. Some of the more like the Eusebios, I put them in at 150. The 64 Zerlags, you know, the Heinerle Puskas at $100. I'm imagining it's a number of factors of that now. Again, I only got hit with the EDI Pele, which I think there's some public sales in the, you know, few $1,000s from my friend in Italy, and I got hit with a couple of the Pele. I think it was the 1966 World Cup ones that came back in like 5s or 6s, and there were some sales of those for like 1,000. So I ended up getting a couple hits on those, but in general, I think the total bill ended up being like 2,500, 2,600 for 243 cards, I guess, minus however many this was, 10, 15. Anyway, so it took a year and a half for these things to get here. And, you know, I'd say that more or less what I expected. There were some positives, you know, some negatives. I'm super happy to have this little boy back in my hands. Some of those nice Brazilian issues, those Americanas, some of the rare, you know, Greelings like this. And, you know, it's hard to go wrong in my eyes with a stack of Bulgarian Sport Sindalars, you know, including a 7, and pretty much walking all the way up from 4 to 5s, 6, 7. So that's pretty exciting. Gosh, what other stuff? I mean, so a couple really cool Garinchas, including this one. Unfortunately, I got kind of buried in stuff here, guys, so I couldn't separate out kind of the ones I wanted to show again. But obviously, this Florian Albert with the really cool 68 Cibeles, I think's really fun for me. The Jagers out of Germany, had a number of higher grade Bergmans, Yashin especially, topped off by a 7. Really kind of fun Garincha there. The Collinville Gum Charlton, pretty crazy one there as well. Some early Zamoras. I mean, there's just a little bit of everything out there. So lots of 1966 type stickers, a number of really cool Monty Gum stickers. The Kinnard, some early Clark Bloomers, and a bunch of other stuff. So all in all, super happy to have this stuff back. It'll take a while to kind of go through it. Of course, do I need it all? Most of the stuff is doubles. Probably not. So if there's something that jumps out at you, give me a holler, especially if you saw there's a number of dupes. And I will just hang on here, a second, see if any last minute questions come in, and sort a little bit here. And if there's nothing else, I hope you guys have a awesome rest of the day. I hope you kind of enjoyed what we saw here today. And just keep collecting and keep enjoying. So I'll again give another minute or two here, and I'll start to clear these cards off to see if anybody had any questions about anything. But really fun. Hope you guys have a great week. there'll be still a lot of content coming out here when Bill gets back, and lots of interesting results at auctions. PWC ends tonight, which will also be interesting as well. So the golden stuff that just went down over the weekend, and just lots of other eBay and other auctions. So last couple questions. So this kind of goes to what Jared said. Yeah, I there's a lot of stuff here that are duplicates even in this submission, but beyond, more broadly in my collection. This is stuff that I didn't really have graded. It wasn't going to be worth being graded until like a year and a half ago. So I mean, I'd say most of the stuff generally would be available in trade or for sale if that was of interest. Certain things, like if I'd mentioned, no, this would be my highest grade, I probably wouldn't do those. But if you had something specific, just DM me on Instagram or through the Discord if you saw anything that was super interesting to you. So that's number one. I would sell, a number of those. Are there any World Cup stickers, Steve? There were no World Cup stickers in this submission. I do have a few hanging out there right now. And those would be the bigger ones, like the Cruyff 74s, I think, and maybe a Pele 70 or something. But none of those out there. So I will. I'm still waiting for them to drop it even more so I could grade all of those sets. So yeah, I think that's it. Everybody, have a wonderful day, and we will see you on the Vintage Soccer Discord. And have a fantastic day. See you. Bye.